We've been waiting for a long time. Yes, we've been waiting for a long, long time. We've been waiting for a long time. But we ain't gonna wait no more. The boys are back in town. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Guess who's back?
Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
Guess who's back? Back again. Guess who's back? 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 Guess who's back?
Urgent Masters, we're back!
Yep, they're back.
They're back.
Oh my, there goes the internet.
And now, it's time for another episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. A show made by 12s from around the world, for 12s around the world. I'm Mozette, and here's your host and my dad, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity.
Yes, thank you, Mozette. And welcome to episode 606, the camping edition of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show, as we talk about the upcoming Seattle Seahawks training camp and preseason games. And hey, what can I tell you? Don't forget to pack plenty of bug spray, some suntan lotion, and please be sure to double check inside your sleeping bag before crawling in for the night. You never know what might crawl in there. Gentlemen, it's our 131st episode, believe it or not, episode 606, our sixth season, our sixth episode in the sixth season. And let's see who the posse is for the show, shall we? First, as always, it's our news hound, Will. Hi, Will.
Hey, Moses. How are you?
Oh, fine. How are you, sir?
Not very good. This camping trip is not going well.
Oh, do tell. What's going on?
Oh, I couldn't find any leaves, so I had to use a pine cone.
Oh,
Ooh.
ouch. That is not pleasant at all. But I know what is pleasant. And what is pleasant is, of course, our friend Dustin. Hi, Dustin.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm
Hey,
doing
it's
well.
Dustin. Come on.
Trying not to
Little
be
late
white
on
this
the
time.
applause.
There they are.
Yeah, like a Swedish crowd.
Yeah, really. Dustin, how you feeling, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are
Trying
you
out
ready
a
to
new
go?
mic today. Completely different setup, so we'll see how this goes.
Sounds great. Hey, are you ready to go camping?
I'm always ready to go camping. I love s'mores.
Oh, s'mores. S'mores. They're not s'mores.
Oh, they're delicious.
They're s'mores.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. What's there to
They
be
might start
s'more
off
and a
with
s'more?
s'mores, and then like the more you drink, it just mashes together probably. Kind of like the whole Hodor effect on Game of
Gotcha.
Thrones.
Gotcha. Oh, see Game of Thrones. Always
Hold the
Game of
door.
Thrones.
Yep.
There it is. And also from sunny California, it's Statsman Mark. Hi, Statsman Mark.
Hello, Dennis. Hello,
How are you
everybody.
doing, sir?
Well, off camera, I was discussing kind of easing into middle age, and I need to get my eyes checked because I swear I saw that the 49ers are listed as only a 16-1 odds to win the Super Bowl.
Oh, dear God.
You know,
Oh, my God.
I've suspected for a while that the medicinal thing out here has been treating people well, but that's just downright delusional.
A little bit. Wow. I'll believe that when I see it. Believe me. So who did pack the s'mores? Dustin, do you have the s'mores? Because we are going camping. It's camping time.
I absolutely do.
All right, good. So he's got the s'mores, and all we need now is to get started. Fergie?
Let's get it started in here.
Yes, let's get it started in here. This show is run just like a real NFL football game. 4 quarters and a halftime. Quarter one, will catch us up on all the news we've missed since we've been together. Quarter two, we'll talk about Kam Chancellor. I'll talk about memories and his impact. And then we have a very special headlines and punchlines dedicated to Kam Chancellor at the end of the second quarter. Halftime is, of course, the greatest Seahawk-themed trivia game on the internet. It's 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia.
How the world.
The world. And Matt is not here to defend his title, which is sad. Yes, the yin to my yang from Maryland, England, Matt cannot be with us this evening. He's too busy inflating huge balloons of Donald Trump over in England. So we wish him well on that. But he is not here to defend his title. So that's kind of sad.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So y'all are, it's going to be somebody's going to take that title from him. He'll just have to come on the next show and take it back probably. Quarter 3, we'll talk about camping competitions. What do you think of some of the biggest competitions heading into camp for the Seahawks as we sort out all these players and positions? And, of course, quarter 4, we're going to adopt a Seahawk like we do every year at this time. We each adopt a drafted Seahawk rookie and an undrafted Seahawk rookie with usual hilarious consequences. So, before we start, we'd like to remind you to like, share, and subscribe to Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. We're on Twitter at Seahawk Positivity. Email 12manfanjamshow@gmail.com. New this season, we are, of course, uploading a podcast of our shows on Podbean. The address is 12manfanjamshow.podbean.com, and they're also on iTunes. Now, before we get to news, I do have just a couple of shout-outs.
Hey, can I do a shout out? Shout out.
Got a couple of shout-outs to everyone who participated while we were not broadcasting in the first ever 12-Man Fan Jam Show's Summer of Seahawk Swag giveaways. Thank you very much. To the winners, Andy, Wendy, Dustin, Davis, Jose, and Andy. Congrats again and enjoy the free Seahawk stuff. The winners should be getting gifts fairly soon. They were finally all shipped out on the 20th of July, which is when we're recording. So you should be getting them soon.
I won something?
No, it's different. Dustin Davis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Dustin Davis.
Sorry, Dustin.
Yeah, it's okay.
Not cool, guys. Not cool.
You win every time you're on the show.
Oh, okay.
See, that's your win. So congratulations to them. Also, a special congratulations and happy birthday, because it is the 20th of July. And it just happens to be the birthday of the Griffin twins, Shaquille and Jakeem. So happy birthday, guys. Both of them turned, I think, 23, did I read? 23? Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, who's feeling old? Raise your
Oh
hand.
my gosh. Yeah,
that's crazy.
I've got so many clothes that are 23 years old or older. It's not even funny. But I won't share that list. Instead, what we'll do is we'll go to the first quarter and news. Yes, news from around the NFL with our news hound Will. It's the 12-Man Fan Jam Show News Report, brought to you by this week's sponsor, the Kam Chancellor Hammer. When you use a Kam Chancellor Hammer, what you hit goes down and stays down. Vernon Davis nails sold separately. Will, what you got for us?
Well, Moses, as you know, the Seahawks are going to play the Denver Broncos in Week 1, which means they're probably going to have to contest with Von Miller. But it may be a better thing that they're playing him on the field and not meeting up with him on the road. Miller has had 5 traffic tickets in the past 5 years. This after him telling the Denver Post in 2013 that he has, quote, trouble with the pedal to the metal and was working to fix that. But he's actually been cited for 2 speeding tickets this year, cited on May 15th for speeding in Arapahoe County, Colorado, and on June 19th for speeding in Denver.
Wow.
He appeared in the Arapahoe County District Court on this past Monday on account of driving up to 39 miles per hour above the speed limit. So if you see Von Miller coming, whether or not he's wearing pads, just run.
He's got speed all over, apparently. He's just got speed everywhere. And you know, he admits it. He showed up at court. I don't know the circumstances. It is dangerous. Obviously, it's dangerous. But he can obviously afford the insurance, and he can afford the tickets, I'm sure. But that is dangerous to a point, because if you go too fast, but at the same time, it could be a lot worse. So having a lead foot when you make that much money is not such a big deal, is it, Dustin?
It depends on if you got Paul Walkered or not.
Oh.
Again, I'll address all of those comments to Dustin, care of 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
But not
Mark,
Dustin Davis. That's
Mark. I'm grandpa when I drive. How about you?
Well, first off, all of a sudden KFC came to mind.
Wow,
Sorry, that's awful. We'll fix that in post.
Yikes.
Yeah, we'll fix that in post.
Yeah, at least I don't tweet. Anyway, driving, yes. Out here, I don't know. Out here, it's nuts. So I just stay in the right lane if I want to live.
Yikes.
Good advice.
I mean-
Stay in the right lane. If
Oh,
you
the
wanna
Bay
win.
Area is just, it's like I'd call you something, but I can't tell what gender you are.
Oh,
Oh, no.
my. Oh, no.
Okay.
Yikes.
Woo.
Sorry,
All
Dad.
right. Will,
That's
moving
really
on quickly.
Sorry.
Well, Moses, Terrell Owens has been making most of his headlines this offseason for his decision not to attend the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. But if he has his way, he might not be done playing football.
Oh, no.
His agent, Jason Starozik, I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I don't really care.
It's Bill
said, quote,
Jones, ironically. But go ahead.
he still feels like he has some football years left in him. He just loves the game and wants to get back into playing, whether it's the CFL or the NFL. And Owens actually this past Saturday activated a 10-day clause that forced the Edmonton Eskimos, the Canadian football team that owns his rights, to either offer him a contract or release him. Sadly for Owens, today the Eskimos announced that they dropped they removed Owens from their exclusive negotiating list. So he is free to sign with any other CFL team, but he will not be getting a contract with Edmonton. So sorry, T.O.
Among giggles, I'm sure. Well, yeah. Oh, I guess we'll drop you then.
Well, yes.
Hey, maybe he could join Johnny. Dustin, wait, Johnny Manziel's up there, right?
Yeah, well,
but
he
the guy
was.
the guy in front of him is playing so well, he hasn't seen the field.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
we didn't do a Johnny Manziel update. That's sad.
Yeah, last time T.O. was around football, though, he didn't play so well.
No, he
so-
didn't.
At all.
He did not.
But, I mean, he helped get Russell Wilson his job, so gotta love the guy for that.
he did do that.
That's the
yes.
thing. He dropped 2 would-be touchdown passes from Matt Flynn, and
Yeah.
if those have been caught, who knows?
Yeah, we still would have
Mhm.
had Russell at the quarterback, but Zorny, your
Sooner or
thoughts
later.
on Terrell Owens? You're down there by behind Emily Lyons, down there by the 49er world.
Oh, he's just universally blowing it by not going.
Yeah.
I think he's going to regret it. He'll have that conflict going on forever. I should have gone, but we'll never admit it publicly or whatever. And he should just go. It's silly, but
I'm kind of with you on that. I think but again, it's his choice. You don't want to go.
I think
whatever.
I think he already regrets it. It's too late now.
Yeah.
I don't even know where he's going to be. He announced he's going to be somewhere during the ceremony.
Isn't
or
he going to be
something.
Tennessee Chattanooga? Isn't he going to be down there by his college?
I don't know, probably be in his driveway doing sit-ups, I assume.
Next
No,
question.
he's gonna be at UT Chattanooga. So
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay.
That's his college. I think they're doing something special for him, but anyway, yeah, I think he regrets it. I think the odds are going to be a lot steeper for him than the 49ers make it a Super Bowl next year on any team. I think I would bet against that easily. I bet that's about 1,000,000 to 1 for him being on a team. But he's going to keep doing it. And that's part of the problem with these guys is that, not problem, but part of the issue is that they get older and they get in their 40s, but they still feel, and they can really, they feel like they can still play. They can still run routes. They can still throw footballs. They can still run fast. But then they forget the physical part of it. And
You don't recover.
And the recovery thing. And,
well, they're in better shape and have more skills than 99% of the population. The problem is the 1% that's better than them are the ones that are actually playing in the NFL.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. So, well, best wishes to him. I hope he doesn't have to play in the CFL, and I hope that he has a nice retirement officially. We'll just call it quits since you're going into Hall of Fame. You might as well call it official, but has a little silliness there. But thank you as always, Will.
Oh, and Dennis, there's one more thing.
Oh, yes, sir.
Richard Sherman's latest wine with an H, vintage 2018, is now bottled and ready. It's a cheap high for a cheap shot. So
Nice.
Appropriately enough.
Richard Sherman wine. Get yours today.
Nice.
Sold in Seattle only, because that seems to be the only thing he whines about. So, Will, thank you for the news.
Anytime, Moses.
And that's the end of the first quarter.
It's the end of the first quarter, bitches.
All right, coming up on this very special camping edition of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, we talk about camp expectations. We adopt rookies. But next is a salute to Kam Chancellor and some great Kam Chancellor is so tough jokes coming up. So please meet us after this short break.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show.
a Seahawk Positivity production.
Boy, is this great!
Holy shit, it's the second quarter.
So here we are at the second quarter of episode 606, our camping edition. Remember, for a transcript of this episode of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show, please take out a piece of paper and pen and write down everything we say. Oh, camping, gentlemen, camping episode. Any of you, I know Dustin said he loves to go camping. Will, you a big camping fan?
Yeah, not so much.
Not so much. Zorny, what are your thoughts there? Statsman Mark?
Well, coincidentally enough, I haven't camped since I last drank, so I haven't been doing much camping.
I was a camp counselor for 3 years. Fort Scott, God love you, Fort Scott, was the best time of my life. Loved every minute of it. So
Then some weirdo started running around with a hockey mask, and Moses decided to do something else.
But anyway, this is our camping episode, but we have a kind of a sad quarter too, because we have to discuss the impact and pay homage to the recent retirement of number 31. And we kind of all knew it was happening. We all, I think as a fan base, mostly said, please, Kam, go ahead and retire. We don't want to see you get hurt anymore. And it finally became official. He apparently went in June to get an MRI, and it sounded to me like it just didn't go anywhere. It didn't heal any more than it had healed before. And that's when he realized it wasn't going to get any better. And I think he realized, for the safety of himself and his family, which I think all of us agree is a great, sad to see him go, but a great decision. We had to say goodbye to the Hammer, Kam Chancellor. So, Dustin, what are your impact memories, and what kind of impact did 31 have on the Seahawks overall, do you think?
Well, he was kind of the if Earl's the heart of it, Kam was the soul. And he really set the impact a lot, or set the tone a lot on the defense, which was fun to watch. I remember him before he got his first or his second contract, I guess. He was on his first contract still, and he was just blasting people and getting fines, and blasting people and getting fines. and they asked him about it, and he was like, "Hey, look, I'll pay the fine, but I bet you he doesn't want to come across the middle anymore." He did not mind paying the fine to make an impact or make the guy think. He didn't mind getting a penalty if that was going to be something that helped him out later. And big hits he had are just amazingly fun to watch. Like the couple against Vernon Davis. He had the one in the Super Bowl on the tight end. I can't remember his name, but blasting about 5 yards back in the air.
Jones.
Really set a tone for the Super Bowl.
Demarius Thomas.
Darius Thomas,
There you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, that dude was just intense, and he was fun to watch. And he might be one of the last of that kind of player too, because with the way the rules are changing and everything, you might not see players that hit like that. So he might be the last great strong safety that we see for maybe the rest of the NFL with the way the game's changing. So just had to appreciate him for what he was and what he was doing at the time.
I totally agree. Mark, what are your thoughts of Kam Chancellor as he retires?
Yeah, he's just pure class. I mean, and what's nice too is that off the field, I mean, great guy. I saw a documentary. I think we talked about it before. I don't know when exactly it was made, but just the way he grew up. Hard times make hard people, but he took adversity from a young age, and he just parlayed it all the way to this career that could see him in the Hall. I mean, if a safety should get in there, he's going to be in the conversation. He's just a classy individual. There's so much to think about. I mean, he just was simply amazing on the field. And I'm relieved that he's retiring. I'm really happy he's doing this. I just he has nothing left to prove. He's got a ring, world-class guy. Walk away while you can, and hopefully he's healthy in the future. I
think a lot of us were, it's guarded to say we're happy to see him go. It makes it sound like good riddance, and nobody feels that way. But I think most of the fan base was happy to see him make this decision for the benefit of him and his family. And like you said, he's done. I mean, he's had a wonderful career, and for him to retire as a Seahawk is fantastic. And I think obviously everyone wishes him the best. Will, what are your thoughts on Kam Chancellor?
Oh, kind of bittersweet. I mean, for the first few years, Kam Chancellor, I didn't get to see Kenny Easley play all that much, so I always thought that watching Chancellor play was the closest thing I'd ever get to seeing Kenny Easley in his prime.
Right.
And, they had similar careers. I mean, both of them ended too soon due to medical issues. But, yeah, I mean, that was when the new style jerseys came out. That was the first one I got. I loved watching him. I remember going nuts when he nailed Vernon Davis, and then in the Super Bowl when he really should have been MVP, and all those great memories. And then, I just the holdout, and he's admitted that it was a mistake, and it probably shouldn't have done it. But that I think is that really accelerated, in my book, the whole fall of this team from the Super Bowl heights to where they're at now. I think that was a big part of it, because we were behind the 8 ball that whole year, and it always seemed a little bit different, and it was always a little bit different watching him play. I mean, I respect the hell out of the guy for everything that he's done, but it just wasn't quite the same after that ill-fated holdout. But as far as intimidation factor and as far as pure talent, the guy's up there with anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad you brought up Kenny Easley, because I'm going to talk about what my thoughts are, and then we're going to segue in the second part of this question, this paying homage to Kam Chancellor, which is where do we go from now as far as Kam Chancellor, with the future of a Hall of Fame. But first, for me, his impact. A great guy. We were able to, my son and I, when the year they went to the Super Bowl, so that was 5 years ago, 5 years ago. And little Mo was 7 years old, and we were able to meet them after the Indianapolis Colts game, or some of the players. And Cam was one of the last ones that we got to meet, and this lady was standing next to my son, and he was signing her stuff, and she said, "Oh, don't forget this guy, because he came down here to see you." And he looked down, and just the look in his eyes, he saw my little 7-year-old son with the jersey on and the hat, and he just grinned, and he took my son's stuff, and he signed it, and he took his hat off, and he rubbed his head, and he put his hat back on him. And that just, to me, that
nice.
As a father, you're never going to forget something like that. And so I have never forgotten that, and I'm sure little Mo will never forget that. So for me, it's a little personal. It's kind of like with the same thing I had with Marshawn Lynch's mom, and that whole experience. It's something that I won't forget. Probably 5 seconds of his life he'll never remember, but it's 5 seconds that we will never forget. So for me, his impact on the field, which kind of leads to the next question. The next question I'm going to ask, and I'm going to start it, is will he get in the Hall of Fame? Is he eligible for the Hall of Fame? What are your thoughts on that? I feel better about it than I should, and I know we're all homers here. We all love the Seahawks, but I think there are several things in Cam's favor. Number one, I agree with Will. If Malcolm Smith doesn't pick up that fumble, then he doesn't have 2 turnovers, then I think definitely Cam is the MVP of that Super Bowl. So Cam played in a winning Super Bowl and played very, very well and got a lot of attention. He got a lot of attention during his career because of the Legion of Boom, and that team, unlike Kenny Easley, this team got a lot of attention and a lot of media coverage. So people saw Kam Chancellor. I hear people talk all the time on TV about, well, he's a Kam Chancellor type. Well, my God, if you're comparing other players to him, enough said. I mean, you're comparing other players coming in. Well, he's not quite a Kam Chancellor, but that's another big thing, I think, too. And then you add to that the final piece, which is, for me, he's well known, and I just think he's well respected around the league. I think he's always very high on the top 100 players, and I think from an objective standpoint, the press and the media and the players and the coaches around the league really respect him more than I think we know. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to throw it to Dustin after this. I think he gets in almost within the first couple years he's eligible. I don't think it's very long. Dustin, what are your thoughts on him in the Hall of Fame?
I think he's going to get in. I just wonder if he played long enough for it to be a first or second ballot kind of deal. I don't think there's any question he belongs there. Like I said, he was probably the best strong safety of his era. And like I was saying, probably one of the last that's going to play like that because of the rules and everything. And he played at a time and on a defense that drew a lot of attention, like you were saying. With players way back when, like Easy, like you're talking about, not everybody saw those games. Not everybody got to see those guys play because the exposure wasn't there. Everybody knows Kam Chancellor, league-wide, nationwide, not even just the league, but fans. There's fans all over the world that know who Kam Chancellor is because of the exposure that they get now and how things are seen. And everybody's watched him play. And when you watch him out there and you watch him hit and you watch him do what he does and just his style and all that, that guy is one of the best that ever did it. And I think he's definitely going to be there. My only question is how long it'll take him to get in.
Yeah, I agree. Statsman Mark, your thoughts on Hall of Fame?
Well, I think he's definitely worthy of it. One of the things that comes to mind is I don't know how many total like safeties in general are in the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like it's one of the tougher positions
Yeah.
to get in on. But I mean, he's definitely worthy. The thing that helps because the media, especially these days, they love this stuff. He's the fact that he was part of the Legion of Boom.
Yes.
It lends a lot to his name. It's just like the Steel Curtain Doomsday. If you're tied
Absolutely.
into that, I think that helps because people eat that stuff up. He does have signature plays that people can recall.
Yep.
And then, also his respect around the league. And if the NFL is going to kind of emphasize character a little bit, I mean, that's to a lesser extent. But he's definitely worthy. And his stats are pretty good. I mean, although I don't know the career interceptions. But anyway, I think he's worthy. I think ultimately the main hang-up could be the position itself that sees it take maybe a lot longer than people would initially think. But he's definitely worthy.
I was thinking also, like, if you think about how I always say revolutionized the position, but he did change that position to be almost like, he would sneak up and it was because Earl Thomas covered so much ground, but he could sneak in and be that fourth linebacker that, whatever. And so he kind of changed the position. He was, he's almost a linebacker playing safety, it felt like. So, yeah. Will,
and yet nimble enough to jump over the line and block a field goal.
Those are great.
Unbelievable. Yes. Will, what are your thoughts on Hall of Fame?
He absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Piggybacking off of what Mark said, though, safety is not a really. There's not a lot of safeties in the Hall of Fame, and it's a position that's a bit devalued at the moment, which Earl Thomas is learning to his displeasure. I think he's going to get in eventually. I don't know how soon it's going to be. I think it could be a kind of random one year. Oh, well, Kam Chancellor's not in. Let's get him the votes. Get him in. I think sooner or later he's going to get in, but I have no idea when it's going to be.
Yeah. Well, we all hope he'll get in very soon, and we wish Kam absolutely nothing short of the absolute best. I know we all do. And thank him for all he did in Seahawk Blue and all he continues to do. I mean, there is that whisper about him joining the coaching staff, maybe. We'll see. That would be a nice addition. We'll see how that plays out. I think right now I haven't heard. It was just rumors. I haven't heard anything for sure. So, but even if he doesn't, he'll always have a home in Seattle Seahawk lore for sure. So
they might try and do the Ichiro thing with him. Like, the Ichiro was a player this year, and they decided they didn't use him anymore, and they brought Ichiro into the front office to do other things.
Right.
Because he's still under contract. Cam said he's not going to be able to play football anymore, but he hasn't actually retired.
Okay.
Yeah, because if he retires, he has to give back some of the money on his contract. So
maybe they'll work something out. I see.
Yeah, unless he and the team work out some sort of settlement, he's still going to be technically a player, but he's not. He's going to be inactive.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll just see how that all shakes out. In the meantime, let's enjoy some Kam Chancellor flavored headlines and punchlines. Yes, headlines and punchlines. We usually take a headline and we offer our own punchline to it. And since this is second quarter, we've kind of honored Kam Chancellor. We thought we would take some jokes that were originally for Chuck Norris and change them to Kam Chancellor because Kam is just that tough. So obviously our headline and punchline this week, our headline is Chuck Norris is so tough. So I will bring that.
Kam Chancellor is so tough.
Oh yeah, it's not Chuck Norris is so tough because Chuck Norris is the guy. It's Kam Chancellor is so tough.
Yep.
Good catch.
Thank you.
Wow, I'm glad Dustin's here for a reason. All right. So just for that, Dustin, I'm going to let you lead off. Are you ready?
All right.
Kam Chancellor is so tough
that he once urinated in a semi-truck's gas tank. That truck is now known as Optimus Prime.
Sorry. Optimus Prime! I should have known I waited because it was going to be a Transformer thing. I apologize.
No worries.
Mark!
Yes.
Kam Chancellor is so tough.
He is so tough. He tweeted our president a photo giving him the stink eye, to which Trump replied, I got to think of something. Think of something. Think of something very fast.
Richard
Sorry, I keep
Dreyfuss,
going to
ladies
the
and
same
gentlemen.
punchline.
Oh, somewhere, someone that's watched old 70s comedy is laughing. Will! Kam Chancellor is so tough.
Death once had a near Kam Chancellor experience.
Nice.
All right, Kam Chancellor's so tough. When Kam Chancellor was a baby, he didn't have teddy bears. He had real bears. Dustin, Kam Chancellor is so tough.
But he has a grizzly bear carpet in his room. Bear isn't dead. It's just afraid to move.
So I waited that time. I figured it out.
Good job.
Will, Kam Chancellor is so tough.
He can kill your imaginary friends.
Sweet.
Kam Chancellor is so tough. When Kam Chancellor finishes his workout, the gym takes a break. Will, Kam Chancellor is so tough.
His dog is trained to pick up his own poop because Kam Chancellor will not crap from anyone.
Sweet.
Kam Chancellor is so tough. When Kam Chancellor was bitten by a werewolf, when the full moon came, the werewolf turned into Kam Chancellor. Kam
These are like
Chancellor,
deep thoughts.
thank you. Kam Chancellor is so tough. He had a role in Star Wars. He was the Force. That one's for you, Will.
Thank you.
Kam Chancellor can divide by 0. Kam Chancellor can unscramble eggs. He's so tough that when he does push-ups, he's not lifting himself up, he's pushing the earth down. All right. That's how tough Kam Chancellor is and was and always shall be. And now it's time to go to halftime.
Holy it's halftime.
Oh, just ahead in the spotlight, so much more show as we roll into halftime. What should we look for in training camp? What players enter camp on the bubble? Did I remember to put the name on the back of my underwear? The answer to these and so many other questions coming up. But right now, it's 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia, and that is next!
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Yes, it's halftime, and welcome to another fun-filled edition of the best play-along Seahawk-themed trivia game show on the internet. It's time for 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. And here's your host, the self-appointed Reverend Moses of the St. Paul Island Church of Seahawk Positivity. Yes, thank you, me, and welcome to another wonderful edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia
Of the world.
the trivia game that tests the knowledge of both our posse and our listeners. Our contestants are the posse themselves. Will, Dustin, Mark, and rules there are here. So here's how the trivia game works. There'll be 2 rounds of questions. Each contestant answers 1 question each round. If they get it correct, they get 1 point. After 2 rounds of questions, there'll be a final trivia question worth 2 points. If there's a tie after that, then the tie players go on to a special secret overtime question where the winner becomes reigning 12-Man Fan Jam Show Trivia Champion and also gets a prize chosen especially for them. As an added bonus to those listening on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel, the questions and possible answers will be displayed on your screen so you, the viewer and listener, can play along as well. If you do, please let us know how you did on the questions. Remember, there's no Googling, no phone a friend, and please, no wagering. However, there is a lifeline. Before taping this show, my 2 charming Seahawk fan children, Mosette and Little Mo, did take the quiz as well. If the contestants want to know what the kids said, they can ask that but once and only once during the entire game show and only in the first 2 rounds. Now let's get ready to play 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia. All right, gentlemen, you know the rules. You can ask the kids. You get 1 question per round, 2 rounds, and of course the final question worth 2 points. And the topic for round 1 is, of course, Kam Chancellor. So we will go with Will. 1, 2, or 3, Will?
1.
Okay. Dustin, 2 or 3?
3.
All right. And that leaves Mark with question
Mark,
2.
2 or 2?
2 or 2,
Yes.
Mark? Now, of course, 2 questions about Kam Chancellor. One is kind of not about Kam, kind of related to Kam, not really. All right, here we go.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. All right, Will, your question is about Kam Chancellor. In what state was Kam Chancellor born? North Carolina, Maryland, or Virginia? Dance! What state was Kam born? North Carolina, Maryland, or Virginia?
Probably going to get this wrong, but I'm going to go Virginia.
Probably going to get this wrong. Probably go to Virginia. All right. Well, Alexis said, or Mosette, I should say. Mosette said Virginia. Little Mo said Virginia. You said Virginia. You can't all be wrong, can you? No, you can't.
Oh, okay.
Virginia. Norfolk, Virginia. I know
I
it's too
nearly-
easy
I
because he
nearly
went to
talked-
Virginia.
I nearly talked myself into North Carolina.
Well, Virginia Tech. I know. I think, well, that's just too easy.
Well, yeah.
Virginia Tech. You know, but no, he did. He went to Virginia. Norfolk, Virginia. Mark, yours is not quite a Kam Chancellor question.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But
dear.
this is good for you because this is an old school question. You remember Bam Bam Bigelow of wrestling?
Oh, no.
I do indeed.
All right. Well, your question is since Kam, see Bam Bam Kam, right?
Sure.
What was that's the connection? What was former wrestling star Bam Bam Bigelow's real first name? Bam Bam Bigelow's real first name, was it Charles, David, or Scott? Bam Bam Bigelow's real first name, Charles, David, or Scott? It was not Bam Bam, surprising.
And this is like years ago.
Oh, yeah,
So
this is
you-
back
Yeah,
in the
actually, he
80s.
recently passed away.
Oh, he did? Oh,
If I remember right.
Wow, because I'm not sure your kids would know this. What was the middle name?
It's Charles, David, or Scott.
I'll go David.
He'll go David. It's my brother's name, by the way. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday, David, brother of Moses. You said you said David. Little Mo said David. Mosette said Charles. You're all wrong. It was Scott.
It's that old familiar
What I
song,
thought.
guys.
I want to say he was like a real estate agent or something too, outside of wrestling,
Oh,
or an
probably.
accountant, one of the two.
Oh, probably.
If I had a trivia greatest hits, it'd be just one
I watch
tracks,
a lot of
1 through
wrestling.
11.
Hey, playtime to come back and win. Not to worry. Dustin, yours is.
Don't worry, Mark. We can still blow it.
You still got a chance. Your question, Dustin, is about Kam Chancellor. How many postseason interceptions did Kam Chancellor have in his career? Postseason interceptions did Kam Chancellor have in his career? 1, 2, or 3?
I don't know. I think he had like 10 or 12 altogether, so probably maybe. I'll say 2.
He'll say 2. Mosette said 2. Little Mo said 1. You also said 2. I'm sorry. It was 3. He actually had 3. Yeah. So. we are
Okay,
at-
pick six against the Panthers.
and then the Super
The
Bowl.
one in
Super
Super
Bowl.
Bowl. What's the third one?
There's another. Okay, I'm thinking maybe that first year.
Okay.
Did maybe he have one against the Falcons? I don't not sure, or the Redskins. Somebody.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
never mind. I was just curious.
he had 3. I don't have them listed.
Maybe
but
against the Saints, Drew Brees was throwing the ball all over the place in that game.
It could be. But he did have 3. Those are 2 I remember too well, and I couldn't come up with the third one, but his stats said 3, so we'll go with it. All right, it is Will with a point, and Dustin and Mark are looking to tie it up. Will, 4, 5, or 6?
Do 5.
Mark, 4 or 6?
4.
And Dustin will get. Now remember, the topic now is the top 100. The top 100. Remember the NFL players top 100 they do every year on the NFL channel. Is a topic, and of course, one is not exactly that top 100. And actually, Mark, you get that right off the bat. So, Mark, according to the Billboard Top 100.
Oh, man.
dear.
What was the number 1 song of 2017? Was it Despacito? That's What I Like, or The Shape of You? Despacito, starring a million people. That's What I Like with Bruno Mars, or The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. Number 1 song by Billboard 2017. Despacito, That's What I Like, or The Shape of You. And this is 1, 2, and 3, by the way. The top 3 songs in some order.
Okay, in the spirit of Matt, I gotta ask your kids.
That's probably a smart move. Mosette said That's What I Like by Bruno Mars, and Little Mo said The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. Nobody
Oh.
said Despacito.
I have a hunch that Mozette is a little bit more on top of the top 100. I'll go with her.
Yeah. You would think that. That's what I like, is what you're going with. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now, it's The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran, and she was as shocked as you are.
I would have guessed Despacito.
She even went so far as to say, well, that's what I like was Shape of You was good in the beginning of the year, and that's what I like was hot at the end of the year. So she went that far, and she had to flip a coin, basically. And she went with That's What I Like, and it was wrong. Shape of You by Ed Sheeran was number 1. Yeah, sad but true.
Oh.
Yeah. Will.
Yes, sir.
This is about the top 100. How many players did the Seahawks place in the top 100 this past season? 5, 6, or 7? And yes, this includes players that are no longer with us. If they played on the Seahawks last year, they counted, okay? How many players? 5, 6, or 7? How many players did the Seahawks place in the top 100 last season? 5, 6, or 7?
Didn't seem like we had that many. I'm going to go with 5.
He's going to go with 5. Little Mo and Mozette both went with 6. You went with 5. It's 7. Baldwin, Graham, Chancellor, Sherman, Thomas, Wagner, Wilson.
Gave it to the injured guys, huh?
Not bad for a team that's supposed to go 4-12 this year.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, what a joke.
They couldn't
anyway,
even use our correct logo when they did it.
Oh, I know. Let's not even give that any more credit than I just did. Dustin.
Yeah.
What Seahawk player has been ranked the highest in the top 100 for the Seahawks? So this is a player that over the history of the top 100 NFL players, he's been ranked higher than any other Seahawk has ever been ranked. Is it Richard Sherman, Earl Thomas, or Russell Wilson?
I'm going to say Sherman.
He's going to say Sherman.
And in fact, I did say Sherman.
In fact, you did say Sherman. The kids both said Russell Wilson. But you said, hey, I'm saying Sherman. Yeah, and he was actually a few years ago, he was number 7. And I think he's the only one to ever reach top 10. So,
Yep.
Congratulations, Dustin. So, Will, Dustin, Mark.
Woo.
Will is the 1. Dustin's at 1. Mark, well, yeah, I know how that goes. So,
He's here. Mark's here.
here's the order. We'll go Dustin, we'll go Will, we'll go Mark. All right. Now, this question is a high-low, but before we do that, I have to tell you that guess what time it is? It's time for the final question. Sorry.
I was going to
Final
guess peanut
question.
butter jelly time.
Yeah. It's
I like
time
that
for
time.
the final question. We're 2 points. It's high-low on the number, and this is confusing, but you understand when I ask you the question. The closest without going over gets the 2 points. There's no way we can have an overtime. So apparently they will then be champion for this edition of the 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Here we go. We will start with Mark. It will go Mark, Will, Dustin. I know I said the other way around, but I confused myself. Mark!
Mm-hmm.
Here is your question. It has to do with the NFL Top 100. What was the highest rank Kam Chancellor ever reached on the NFL Top 100? So, how high was the highest Kam Chancellor ever reached on the top 100 players?
Well, being a Seahawk, it's hit or miss in terms of being a media darling. So, I am going to say...
But remember now, it's the players and coaches that vote on this, not the media.
That's true.
So,
That's true. Well,
Hey,
thank
I
you
have
for...
a question before we answer, though.
yeah.
So, seeing as how it's usually closest without going over, and it's usually a number that's high or whatever, are we supposed to, like, if we're,
Yeah, are we doing this in
you made
reverse?
49?
Yes.
Yes.
Good
Was that-
question.
is it flipped opposite this time?
Yes, it's opposite day.
Okay.
You want to get as close to it as you can without getting too low on
Too
the
low.
number. I guess.
Okay.
I hear you.
Yes. Good question.
Okay. I'm going to say... let's see. I'm going to say 48.
Mark says 48. Will.
I will go 37.
37. Dustin, 48 and 37. Highest ranked Kam Chancellor ever reached on the NFL Top 100 players.
What would Will say?
48, 37 are the two choices right now.
36.
37. Ooh, he priced him right.
Oh, whatever.
Well, it just so happens that the highest that he has ever been was 32. And you know what that means?
Nice.
Little Transformers redone. I don't think you've heard this before. Dustin! Rock out with the Transformers, man.
Yeah, that's a rock version for sure.
A rockin'
Nice.
remake of the theme from the movie Transformers for Dustin. Congratulations,
Thanks.
Dustin.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. A little headbanging going on now. Yes, 32, by the way. Happened in 2016. He was 32nd, which is pretty good. Wow. What an amazing, crowd-pleasing, heart-stopping, award-winning edition of 12-Man Fan Jam Show Halftime Trivia
The world.
of the world. We'll be back with the second half. We're going to go camping right after this. Take us out, Transformers.
You're listening to the 12-Man Fan Jam Show on the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Holy shit, it's the third quarter.
All right, welcome to the third quarter of your 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Hey, you! Yes, you, roasting marshmallows by the fire, or the far. Like, share, subscribe to the Seahawk Positivity YouTube channel. Join our Facebook group, 12-Man Fan Jam Show. Download us from iTunes, Podbean. Do it now before your marshmallow catches fire and you have to blow it out. Remember when you have to do that when you were camping, that set fire? You guys let your marshmallows set fire?
Not on purpose.
No. Some people do it on purpose. I was
know.
not a big fan. Here's how I ate my s'mores. My s'mores, almost I said like Dustin. My s'mores, I would go over, and of course the s'mores are graham cracker and chocolate and marshmallow. I would go over to the bag. I would get a piece of chocolate. I would get the chocolate, sit down, and eat the chocolate. That's how I made a s'more.
That's one way to do it.
That's pretty much how it worked.
S'mores
Congratulations,
au
Dustin.
naturel.
Yeah, exactly. I went
Cliff Notes version.
all organic. Yeah. Dustin, congratulations on winning 12-Man Fan Jam Show halftime trivia.
Thank you. Thank you.
We made a mistake. I made a mistake. I gave him the theme from Transformers, which he was thankful for. I know, and I appreciate him being a good sport about it. But actually, what he wanted was this. He wanted Thundercats. And
I know.
silly me.
And Matt's missing it.
I confused the two. Matt is not here.
He's been looking forward to this, though. Oh!
There you go. That's
Thank
for
you.
Matt. He was supposed to hear the Thundercats theme. Not the Transformers theme, but I'm giving a little extra Thundercat here. Oh, man. I got to share a Thundercat story before we move on to third quarter and camping. And it is this. When I went to college, we would all watch Thundercats.
It's a great
and
show.
Before we went to dinner. And so we would all watch Thundercats, and then we'd walk over to the cafeteria and eat dinner. And we decided to come up with the Thundercats drinking game.
Oh, yeah?
And the Thundercats drinking game was this. Every time Snarf said Snarf, you took a drink.
Yeah, that would be the one.
Okay, and every time the guy pulled out his sword and did his, Thundercats ho little thing, we would chug. So
Nice.
it came time to do this. And we're all excited. We planned for weeks what day it was going to be. It was going to be a Friday, and we got all excited, and we got ready to go. And the show came on, and it was an episode where Snarf was missing.
Oh, no.
So they're walking through the woods going, Snarf, Snarf, have you seen Snarf? Where's Snarf at? Where's Snarf? Snarf. We were so trashed going over to eat dinner. But
that is hilarious.
yeah, that's my Thundercat story. So people who are in the know, that what would be college know, if you say Thundercats drinking game, they'll tell you that story. It's a great story. Anyway. So
I've tried to name every animal we've had since I got married. I've tried to name it Snarf, and it's been vetoed every time.
I cannot imagine why.
Yeah, weird.
Well, what is it weird is we have camp coming up on the 26th of July, and then we have preseason, and we won't do another show until after the last preseason game. Our next show will be the game before the game. I mean, it'll be before game time, so we're very excited by that. But with camp comes competitions, and of course, Pete Carroll's always got to compete. So I'll start with Stats by Mark. Mark, what are some camp competitions that you're looking forward to as training camp comes to Seattle in 2018?
Well, I did read today about George Fant, and I think he is a go for camp.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Sounds like it. Am I getting that right?
Wonderful.
So I'm curious how if he salvages something, because the line is always going to be an interesting thing. And apparently with Infetti, he just has to. There's some kind of mind thing or some kind of hurdle mentally he has to get through. Physically, I guess the talent's there, according to. I don't know if it was Dave Wyman or whoever. And also, really, who establishes to be the other corner?
Okay.
That position is just to find someone opposite Shaquille. So I guess
that's a couple of good ones there. Offensive line, I knew you'd talk about. That's why I brought you in. Dustin, what about you? What's a competition that you see that you're looking forward to seeing?
Well, real quick, I think Dwayne Brown is already solidified.
Yeah,
as his left tackle, so I'm pretty sure George Fant is going to be competing with Ifedi for right tackle.
Right,
probably.
Right.
That'll be interesting. Everything's going to be flip-flopped for him.
Well, because in my opinion,
techniques completely opposite of what he's been doing.
Well, in my opinion, real quick, I felt that Fant was really getting off to a strong start when he got injured. I thought he looked pretty good in the
he looked like an NFL tackle.
Yeah. So who knows? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Dustin.
Oh yeah, no worries. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But I got to say, safety. It's got to be key right now because we don't know if Earl's coming back.
Yeah.
We got to see who's gonna step up at safety and make plays, and that competition has to be high level because we don't want the drop off to be too noticeable.
Right.
So they got to figure that thing out.
I agree. Tedrick Thompson, Delano Hill, off the top of my head, and then other guys that have been special team standouts. Maybe a Nico Thorpe, or I don't know, some other guys that could come in and play safety. I don't know. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. You're right. I agree. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. And McDougall's going to play one or the other. And, of course, he's versatile enough to play either one, so that's kind of an advantage. So you kind of put him in either one, which is nice. And I thought he did pretty well last year.
Yeah, he played really well, I thought.
Yeah, so he's no Cam, but who is? He's no Kam Chancellor. Well, no, he's not. Will, what are your thoughts on competition?
Well, I'm going to go back to the trenches and go to the other side of the line and talk about defensive line. Cliff Averill is retired. Michael Bennett's in Philly. Who's going to step up? Frank Clark, we've seen glimpses of what his potential is. He's coming into a contract year. Can he take the next step and become a truly elite defensive end? Guys like Jaron Reed, Nas Jones, can they step it up in the middle? Deion Jordan, if he gets healthy again, he showed a lot of promise.
He did show a lot of promise. I agree.
Yeah, we got to get some pass rush going. So, and it's wide open. So it's like, hey, if you guys want it, now's the time to prove it.
And there's those two guys from Minnesota, which I think are going to be more than just filler. I think those two guys from Minnesota are going to be competing for starting positions. I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, they come from a pretty good defense, so
they got a chance this year for sure.
Yeah, pretty good picks. I'm going to go. Tight end is a tough position because we've lost two main starters, and Dustin, you had mentioned on here that Vanette really wasn't working out as well as they thought he would. Right. But I'm going to actually go with running back. I think that with Penny, and cross your fingers and say whatever you want about Procise. If he can just be healthy,
Who?
we have a logjam if Procise can stay healthy. If Procise stays healthy, we're looking at Penny, we're looking at Carson, we're looking at Davis, we're looking at Procise, we're looking at McKissick. That's a pretty good logjam there, and I'm interested to see between Carson and Penny and Davis how that all shakes out, and I'm interested to see if Procise stays healthy between him and McKissick. Because here's the question: let's say the big question to me is, do you trust Procise? Because if Procise plays lights out during the preseason and McKissick plays well, but Procise stays a lot better, they're kind of the same guy. So do you risk losing McKissick and then 3 games in the season Procise out for the year? You know what I mean? So
they've been through this before with Paul Richardson. Paul Richardson was an oft-injured guy. And then when he finally got it together and came on, he really came on. And the difference between McKissick and Procise is size. Procise is much larger player. So if he stays healthy, I think they're going to probably keep him.
Right. but then you keep him and he plays 2 games and he's out for the rest of the year. And McKissick goes off and signs with somebody else, and you're kind of still having the bag going, oh man, I should have kept that guy. So it's just hard. I'm interested to see how that whole running back thing shakes out. I think it's going to be a committee, a running back by committee for the most part, and then try to use like 2 or 3, 2 starting backs and then a third down back. I think is what they're going to try to do, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how it all shakes out. Those are some of the key positions. Now, real quick, go around the panel here, and I'll start with Mark. Give me a player, Mark, that is on the team that it is put up or shut up. It is time. This camp, they're going to have to do something to save their spot on the team.
To save their spot on the team. Well,
yeah.
It's I think, it's not really a put up or shut up. It's just kind of like I'm really curious about Lockett's health, and making, although there's just no way that they would cut him.
No.
So I'll be honest. I just went.
You will say
over that
Lockett.
assignment.
You can say Lockett as a returner.
I can say Lockett. It's not quite in the context you want.
No, but Lockett as a returner, because if he's not doing well, they may opt to keep him just as a wide receiver and have someone else be a returner.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I can go with that. Dustin, what are your thoughts?
I got 2 guys I can think of immediately, and I think the one that's probably higher up in that category is going to be CJ Prosise, like we just talked about.
I agree. Yeah.
If that dude does not get his act together and doesn't stay on the field, he is not going to be on the team.
Yeah.
He hasn't proven that he can do it so far. He needs to tough it out and figure out how to be an NFL player.
Right. Fair enough. Will?
Well, this one's a little bit of a cheat because I don't see him getting cut. But as far as put up or shut up goes, I'm going to go Jermaine Ifedi.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to cut him no matter how bad things go. Well, unless they get. But he could end up losing his starting job for good if he comes out and has a bad training camp, bad preseason, and if George Fant or somebody else steps up and does better, they may just give up on Ifedi for good.
They might. I'm going to go at the tight end position again with who they brought in. And I almost said the tight end is going to be an interesting competition, and I think it is. But I think, the door was left open. Even though other people have come in, I think Vanette is going to either get, a lot more playing time or a lot less playing time going into the season. And I'm not going to say they're going to cut him, but I think it's a make or break for him. I think his writing is on the wall. He's going to have to fight over the best blocking tight end in college football. And I think that's a big plus for Disley. And I think you have that. And then you have the other guy that came in from the Titans, was it? No, from the
Dixon from the Panthers.
Dixon from the Panthers.
Yep.
So you have Dixon. And
he was the best blocking tight end in the NFL last year.
Yeah, and you're going to be against Vanette. And I think Vanette's really going to be, he could be number 3 or number 4, which means not a lot of playing time for him if he doesn't get his act together. And in this situation, he should be the starter going into camp, in my opinion, because with the other 2 gone, he should be the number 1, but I don't think he is, and we'll see. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. So we're excited to see that.
That's the other guy I was thinking of was Vanette.
Yeah.
Him and Prosise for sure.
Absolutely.
And they're paying Dixon a pretty good chunk of money. I was kind of surprised a little bit.
They really were trying to address the running game and making it better, and he's one of the guys that can help with that. That's really where their emphasis was, it seemed like. So I'm all for it.
I am too. I'm all for it, and I'm also all for adopting Seahawks, which is what we'll do next quarter because this is the end of the third.
It's the end of the third quarter, bitches.
Yes, coming up, we give new drafted and undrafted Seahawk rookies a home. It's our annual 12-man Fan Jam show, Adopt a Seahawk, where we give a little extra care for certain lucky or unlucky new rookies, both drafted and undrafted. You're listening to the 12-man Fan Jam show. We'll be right back after this.
Hello everybody, this is Statsman Mark, and when I'm not listening to Charo's greatest hits on 8-track tape, I'm listening to the 12-man Fan Jam show.
Holy shit, it's the fourth quarter.
Oh yes, it's time for the fourth and final quarter of episode 606 of the 12-man Fan Jam show. This is for Matt, who loves my outrageous French accent. And by the way, vive la France in the World Cup. Yes. Vive la France. All right. In this quarter, we do look to brighten the life of a new Seahawk player coming to town. We have these drafted and undrafted rookies, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, naive rookies coming into big bad Seattle. And we like to do here is we like to adopt a Seahawk. We'll adopt a drafted Seahawk and an undrafted Seahawk and give them a little extra TLC during training camp and hope that they'll make the team, and then hopefully they'll do well during the season. Now, we always look back on what we did the year before in this situation. So as you look back at our drafted rookies from last year, Dustin said Shaquille Griffin, and he said Shaquille Griffin because, of course, Dustin, you have twin boys.
I do.
You do. Yeah, there you are. And
as far as I know, they're mine.
Yeah, and so you went with Shaquille, and for that reason, Matt went with Mike Tyson just because he liked the picture he saw of Mike Tyson on the internet.
Ear off?
Yeah, yeah, because he bit his ear off. I went with Amari Darbo because I was going to go with Naz Jones, but I did not want to hurt Naz Jones, so I said, in an effort to keep Naz Jones healthy, I'm going to go with Amari Darbo. Will went with.
I had the best one of all.
Will went with the pick of the draft, which of course was Malik McDowell. All right. So,
nice.
Gentlemen, this year we're going to go with Statsman Mark, since Statsman Mark was not part of this last year. Statsman Mark, you can adopt a drafted Seahawk. Who are you going to adopt?
Undrafted Seahawk?
A drafted Seahawk.
A drafted Seahawk. Okay, I'm going to go for that one. I'm going to go Trey Flowers.
Trey Flowers.
Yes, and just because it's a position of it's still kind of an open competition to figure out who's going to be opposite Griffin, and also he comes from there's certain schools where I just feel like they have a better chance of making it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Midwestern guy, and they always seem to usually it's not a lack of effort for them not making it. So
yeah,
he's the one that I'm curious about.
Good pick. Dustin?
I'm going to go with Rasheem Green out of USC.
Yeah, Rasheem.
And reason why is I was reading through the questions they asked him on the Seahawks website, and he's a big Game of Thrones fan. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan. He likes to Flash, likes mac and cheese. I feel like we'd have a lot to talk about.
Awesome. Mac and cheese for Rasheem Green. All right.
Yep.
Well done, Will. Who are you picking?
I got to go with Will Disley. I like guys who are nicknamed Uncle Will, just like me. I also like former defensive lineman turned tight end who will block anybody who crosses their path, and yet are also underrated as receivers. So Will Disley's my adopted rookie.
This is hard. You guys left me a lot of good guys to pick. And Will Disley was my number one, but there are a lot of there are a lot of really good guys. And it comes across between wanting to pick somebody and not curse somebody for me.
Yeah.
But I think, I don't think we can do an adopt a Seahawk without having Shaquem Griffin involved. So
right.
I'm going to go with Shaquem, and there are so many good picks here, but Shaquem Griffin is going to be my pick. Because he's Shaquem Griffin. I mean, what more do you want? The motor. Yep. And I've been watching him last couple years at UCF anyway, so I'm kind of excited about him being on a team. I think everybody is. But all right, now let's take a look at last year's undrafted rookies that we adopted, and this was a real crapshoot. Matt went with Tyrone Swopes, who is still on the team at tight end. So there's one there.
Could beat out Vanette.
Yeah,
you never know.
He could.
Mm-hmm.
Will went with Algernon Brown, which if Trey Flowers and Algernon got together, it'd be Flowers for Algernon Brown. But we won't go there. Dustin had Darren Rogers. I don't know. And I had Jordan Ruse. Now, Jordan Ruse did make an impact. So, he was the guy that had the short. No, it was the shorts or the shirt. What did they do with him? It was his shorts. He had the weird shorts that they all wore.
Yeah, he had the shorts.
Yeah. When they went to Techno Thursdays. All right. So.
Shorts.
Yeah, so I said the shorts. He had the shorts when they went to Techno Thursdays. So, but anyway, so Ruse is part of the team. Ruse could push his way onto the starting lineup at offensive line. Who knows? And like you said, Tyrone Swoops could push Vanette down a little bit. So.
And we might figure out who Rogers was.
we might someday figure out who Rogers was.
But probably not.
A likable group of names here. We'll start with Mark. Mark, undrafted free agent rookie.
Well, I'm sticking with the defensive side. Excuse me, and I'm going with Eddie Wilson, defensive tackle, Purdue. And again, if nothing else, I think Midwestern, those programs, they seem to be coached up pretty well. And we got, some nice free agents from Minnesota, but, we're looking, it's an infusion of youth, and kind of a bit of a rebuild. So I'm going to go with Eddie Wilson. Sounds like a name you can trust.
Eddie Wilson, a name you can trust. Will.
I am going to go with Khalid Hill, fullback out of Michigan, because we have not had a fullback for a couple of years. I've wanted a fullback. We have missed having a fullback.
Oh, I want one so bad too.
And if you're going to have one, you might as well get one who's 6'2" and 263 pounds. So I think this kid could be fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, I want a fullback too. Dustin.
No, I was going to go with DJ Khaled Hill also, but just for the same reasons Will did. But
nice.
Since he went with him, I'm going to go with the big receiver, Taj Williams, 6'3" from TCU. Our receiver core is not what you would call big at this point, so having some size out there would be nice.
That's well done there. Well, I can't believe this one fell to me, but I am going to go with Puna Ford. Basically, because my dad drove a Puna Ford for years. So, no, defensive tackle, and he was a guy a lot of people thought would go a lot higher. And then we did get him undrafted, which that was kind of a surprise that he fell through the entire draft. So he's one of those guys that has a lot more talent than he was given credit for, as far as where he's undrafted as opposed to being drafted. So I'm going with Puna Ford also because of this name. Puna. How could you not root for somebody named Puna?
And I knew someone would pick that. That's why I avoided that name.
Yeah.
Well, and I got to think that being short is actually an advantage if you're a defensive lineman because you've already got leverage.
Very true.
Exactly. You're under their hips as it is.
That's true. And the dogs won't get you. But
my dogs are about to.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take those guys. We're going to put their names up on the 12-Man Fan Jam Show Facebook page. And if you would like to join us, we'll put the list of the uncared for, I guess, orphan rookies, that's a lack of a better name. And
the long snapper's still out there, guys.
Yeah. I almost got him, Tanner Carew, because Rod Carew, but I did not. So you want to join us, you can adopt your own. And then I think what we might do that next time we get together, we may adopt actual offensive player on offense and player on defense and kind of have them as all year long to see how we do. But that's our
keep doing adoptions. We need to get that Sarah McLachlan music going.
We do, don't we?
No, we do.
Next year, that'd be
We're
perfect.
just pennies a day.
Just
there you go.
You can help some young millionaire, 25-year-old millionaire.
Right.
Nice. Oh, we'll work on that our next show. And speaking of that, it does look like it's time to bring another wonderful and amazing 12-Man Fan Jam show to a sad close. We are so glad you decided to waste some time with us. I hope you waste time with us instead of from us. We certainly hope you laughed a little. Maybe you learned a little something. What did we learn? We learned Will uses a pine cone. I don't even want to go into that.
Like the 3 seashells.
Yeah, we learned Mark feels old. And Dustin wants to name all of his pets Snarf. I don't know what that was about. I do. Yeah, and we learned that Von Miller is a speedster on the field and off the field as well. So on behalf of my partner in crime, Matt, wherever he is, our news hound, Shadowhawk Will, Statsman Mark, Dustin as the Beaver, Roger Goodell, Mosette, Little Mo, Kam Chancellor, Fort Scott, Puna Ford. This is Moses saying until next time, go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
Go Hawks!
All right, who's got the camping gear? Who's putting the tent up? Because I'm not. I'm not putting the tent up. I do terrible putting tents up.
I got it.
All right, thank you.